Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan show. My mission is to interview successful entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their experiences, both the good ones and the bad ones. Because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. My name is Ike Englebaum, and I'm the founder of the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan, which is a group of motivated people that are all interested in helping each other in achieving our personal and professional goals. We meet at a minimum on a monthly basis, usually over lunchtime. And if you check out our webpage, entrepreneursnetworkofmichigan.com, you can keep on top of our meetings and hopefully you'll join us. I like to bring out messages that are particularly helpful to our great state of Michigan. And I said to myself, why not invite someone who really has a commitment financially as well as morally in helping Michigan? And I picked Dennis Kaiser. And Dennis Kaiser is the Chief Operating Officer of a really neat concept of a discount card best titled It's My Michigan Edge Card. He and his brother Pat Kaiser started the company to say, hey, you know, we could help our residents in Michigan save money and also help businesses build their business. Is that a pretty good description of what you do?
An excellent description, Ike.
Now, like all great businesses that are a good sign of lasting, how long has your company been in business?
We're 5 years now, going on 6.
All right, well, we were talking before we got on the air. Usually the test of a business is that if they can't last beyond 3 years, it ain't much of a business. So you're ahead of the game already.
We're ahead of the game already. You got that right.
Right. Now, you and your brother Pat brainstormed how can we take this card and concept of saving people money and make it into something that's viable and help the state. Can you share with us what are some of your purposes in bringing your card out?
Yeah, well, what we did was when we saw in 2007 what was going on that was hurting a lot of businesses with the economy, we sat down and spent quite a bit of time and said, if we could come up with a program that would accomplish these 4 items. Number 1, help Michigan residents stretch their buying power. Number 2, give Michigan businesses an affordable way of marketing and advertising their business all year long. Number 3, to help schools and nonprofit organizations. And number 4, to do good charitable work and give back to the community. We felt we would build a good, strong business. And that's when we came up with It's My Michigan. Our purpose and our goal is to build a brighter, stronger, more effective Michigan for all of us.
Well, you know, it's amazing how the saying about keep it simple, I like to use the word KISS, and rather than the conventional way, keep it simple strategy, okay? That's my KISS, okay? And everyone that is living their daily lives wants to have that dollar stretch as far as possible. And we're all acquainted with all the various coupons that stores produce. In fact, I would say most of my mail are coupons. And it's paper, and then many times you get so frustrated it doesn't even get inside the house, okay? So I gotta compliment you. You keep it simple. It's a regular card,
Yes,
size of a regular credit card.
Correct.
You carry it with you, and that card enables you to go to over 2,000 merchants. Flash that card.
No, there's actually over 7,000 locations
7,000.
in
Wow.
over 240 cities around the state of Michigan.
Right.
Where you can take this card, the It's My Michigan Edge card,
Right.
and we're talking businesses like Big Boy Restaurants, Aco Hardware, Dunham Sporting Goods, Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers, car dealers, furniture, carpet, doctors, dentists, every kind of business you can imagine. Heating and cooling companies, and just thousands and thousands of businesses. You show this card and you get discounts as high as 50% every time you go. No coupons, just this card. It's like a permanent coupon, good at thousands and thousands of businesses all over Michigan. We've also added a lot of other benefits. With our membership, you can save up to 70% on prescriptions for yourself or for your pets at places like Kmart and CVS and Rite Aid and Costco and Walgreens and Sam, all the major pharmacies, as well as 15 to 20% off your home heating bill. Whether you're getting your gas from Consumers Energy, Mishcon, DTE, or Semco, you can save 15 to 20% on your home heating bill for an entire year by being a member of this company, this group, and purchasing your It's My Michigan card for $20 for the year.
So it's $20 for a full year.
Correct.
And you've got the benefit of saving in all those particular areas. So you don't have to be a mathematical genius that if you're paying once and being able to use that card multiple times, and all due respect for these coupons, and it drives me nuts, to be honest with you. Invariably, when I do see a coupon of somewhere where I'm going, guess what? Just when I'm ready to use the coupon, it's expired. So I've carried this coupon with me, only to find out that it's not valid anymore. And you know, if there's a message out there for people that are in business, I realize that the reason they do that is because they want to know and create a sense of urgency, so you use the coupon right away. But you know, maybe I'm way out in left field on this, but the truth is that let's say you get a coupon or somewhere you go, and that's the month that you decide to take a 3-week vacation, okay? So it's not that I don't want to use the coupon, it's just inconvenient for me to use it. Then you come back and you see it, and you know, and you can't use it. And maybe it's my pet peeve, and I have plenty of them, but I mean, the point is that I get ticked off. I'd rather they would not have sent me the coupon, only to find out. It's like with a little kid, here, you want this? No, you can't have it, okay? That does not happen with me. It's
our card eliminates that because it's good for an entire year when you get it.
Right.
And by the way, there's also savings on groceries at all your grocery stores when you're a member of the It's My Michigan Club, as well as you can shop right on our online mall and have great savings at places like Sears, Kmart's, Kohl's, Best Buy, all of your major stores as well.
Right.
We've really come up with a program that just in general will help a Michigan resident save hundreds, if not over $1,000 a year on all the items and products that they normally buy anyways.
Right. Well, you know, you just reminded me of something that happens in my personal life, and I'm sure it happens with other people as well, and that is you get a group of people that you socialize with, and then there's a typical deal, well, which restaurant are we going to go out tonight, right? So everyone's got some sort of a well, maybe we should try there, or what have you. This way, all you got to do is check, hey, I can get a discount at such and such a restaurant. It happens to be in the area.
We have hundreds of restaurants.
So in other words, it saves a lot of relationships.
Yes.
That could be another selling point.
There you go.
Speaking of selling points, there's a program that you have that if you're in business and you want to increase your customer following,
correct,
you can participate in it. Let's say I'm in business and, hey, you know, this sounds pretty good. How do I become a participant?
Many businesses have found that advertising and promoting to draw new customers to their business can be very expensive. I've talked with thousands and thousands of business owners who tell me, you know, they have $700, $1,000, $2,000 a month and more to keep marketing and sending out mailers and flyers and coupons. We have a program that gives a Michigan business an entire year of advertising, marketing, and promotion, featuring to tens of thousands of Michigan residents their business on the internet, on cell phone apps, in print, on television and radio, a complete year of marketing and advertising for less than the cost of a half-a-page ad in your local newspaper for one day. Instead of hundreds or thousands a month, they're looking at advertising their business for an entire year for about $50 a month.
Well, you know, they say the key in advertising to be effective is repetition.
Yes, absolutely.
And think the logistics of this. The day that you decide to run a half-page ad in the newspaper might end up in being, unfortunately, we've had so many disasters around the country and in the world that people don't even bother looking at that ad because they're so preoccupied in following the latest scandal or the latest disasters. They may not even see it, and it's one day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then they wonder, why did I run that ad in the first place?
And then a few days after they run the ad, that paper is usually in the bottom of a bird cage.
Right. Well, maybe the bird. Can you give a card to the bird? Maybe the card. Hey, there's another market.
There you go.
You can say our business is for the birds. But anyway, when you think about the whole aspect, we hear all these great commercials about why we should come to Michigan and what have you, and they really are terrific. And now I understand that there's more out-of-state license plates in this state now, and they attribute a lot of it because although Detroit may seem to have a negative reputation, fortunately our lakes and golf courses and the wonderful resorts that we have in this state, and the weather is unbelievable when it's decent. I mean, but what can you say? It's about weather. That's unpredictable.
Well, of course, we all know in Michigan here, if you don't like the weather, you only have to wait about 20 minutes and it'll change.
Now I think it's down to about 10 minutes. It's really changed. This is a forever type situation. Now, you alluded to churches and organizations as far as fundraising. So can you give us a brief background? Let's say I've got a church that I want to raise some money for, or some nonprofit organization. How does that work?
Yes, we have a tremendous fundraising program for groups like that. And we've come up with something that, at least as far as I've found from talking with other churches and schools and groups that are doing fundraisers with us, we've come up with quite a unique program. If you remember, a lot of the places used to sell this coupon book, the old entertainment book, which has gone bankrupt not too long ago. And it was quite cumbersome, and a lot of the times the coupons weren't in anywhere near, the places weren't near where you live. We have the groups selling our It's My Michigan Edge card, which they can use for an entire year. They sell the card for $20, and we give $7 back to that group. And then they don't have to handle anything. We actually mail the cards to the recipients. As well as for the next 5 years, every time that individual who has purchased the card renews their membership, we send a residual income to that fundraiser for the next 5 years.
Wow.
So it helps them build a fund to either help their group, whether it's a baseball team or a Cub Scouts or a church organization. It gives them a program that they're selling a product that the people can really use. They make a good return on it, and they get a residual income for their fundraiser as well.
It's a matter of numbers. When you analyze it, you just multiply the number of members of a particular group, and if each person just buys a card and they know they're helping their organization, and let's face it, you use the card two, 3 times, maybe even after one time, you are actually going to get more than your money back, okay?
Absolutely. Myself, just for instance, I do a lot of driving. And I usually have my oil changed about every 4 to 6 weeks. I can go to many of the oil change centers like Valvoline or Pennzoil, and I get $10 off every time I go. So 2 oil changes gives me back what I paid for the card for the year.
Right.
Last year alone, I saved more than $250 on my home heating bill.
Well, that's actually very easy math. $20, $250. Even I can figure that one out. Well, they say in business there's two ways that you can have a decent bank account, and that is either you do more business or you save wherever you can and having more to put away. Well, speaking of putting away, I'm afraid we're going to have to put you away, Mr. Dennis Kaiser, because right now we have to take a brief break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Our small business has been downtown 100 years, and we're really proud of how well it's doing in these hard economic times. But healthcare premiums have been rising. We were glad when the Affordable Care Act passed. We became eligible for a tax credit. We used that tax credit to hire a new employee. In our experience, the Affordable Care Act is a job creator. If you would like to know more about the Affordable Care Act for your business, go to knowyourcare.org.
Welcome back, and with me today is Tom Goebel, who is an international real estate consultant. Wow. And he's had 40 years plus, which means it's been over 40 years, and he's a third-generation real estate agent. He's semi-retired. He says he's retired, but I think he's more refired. And that he's a certified property manager, and he's past president of the Real Estate Land Institute. He's a Rotarian, and he crosses the border all the way from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And you actually, according to my experience with you, is you've been around for over 50 years. Is that right?
TP Realty was started by my dad in 1950. So there's a business for 63 years and counting. My first license was in 1967. Of course, I was a teenager.
Right, of course, of course. Now you're an aged teen. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
know I'm not retired, but I can't use the word certified property manager, except that I'm a retired certified property manager, and I'm actively working other areas of real estate.
All right, well, you also do consulting and the real estate agents, and now it's, and you work with lawyers too?
Yeah, my target market, Ike, is other professionals in the business, and that would be trust departments. I got another trust listing. I'm batting about 900 in that field of selling property for trust departments. A lot of real estate has been based on commissions over the years, and in consulting, I like to say that the main difference is that I'm available by the hour, or by the flat fee. And so when a lawyer or an investor or another realtor needs some help in Canada and they're from the U.S. or vice versa, I could fill that gap and not get into their fees as long as I'm paid my modest fee.
I see. Well, you're fee-based real estate consultant. I mean, in the financial world, there's always the debate as to when you want to have someone plan your financial situation, am I better off going with someone who's going to charge a percentage of whatever I buy versus a flat fee? And it can be argued both ways.
Here's one amazing thing I found, and I've been as high a standard as any broker in the industry, and I've always put my client's interest first. But when it's a commission, and a big commission on the line, you just see the world a little differently. So when you work by the hour, then you're already been paid. And whether that transaction closes or not is not that unwritten incentive in the back of your mind. And if the client decides, hey, I don't want to close that transaction, say, fine, I'll help you back out of it. I mean, you've got to honor contracts, but within the context of that contract, well, certainly I could be as valuable consulting people into closing the transaction as I could people who say, no thanks, I don't want it anymore.
Well, you reminded me of some of my personal transactions, and and that is where, especially when you're involved in real estate, is that if you're working with a commissioned real estate broker, invariably whatever the initial price is never the same at closing. Somewhere along the line, if you got somebody who's really a sharp type buyer, is going to figure out a way. Yeah, I sort of agreed that that's a good ballpark, but guess what?
Like that hasn't happened to me in about 2 months. When there was a lawyer buying a large piece of acreage on waterfront up north, and yeah, things got pushed at the end. And when you want, at that point, someone very experienced, very knowledgeable on your team. And I also, what I'm saying is I'm a hired gun. I will add to the team of other realtors, and I can represent them in state or out of state.
Right. Well, you're like a safety net for someone who is involved in the cycles of either personal or actually business type of investment of property. And when you think about it, what I was trying to lead up to before is that if suddenly the price of what you agreed would be the selling price changes and goes lower, all of a sudden the person has got to still give the same commission to the real estate agent, but he walks away with less money, you know. What's that old line? It's not the money, it's the amount. With you, if you're just charging by the hour and things go sour, at least it's a finite number. Hey,
Yep.
It didn't work out,
Right.
but it's not, and in some cases it can literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars that is different than what you started out versus what it ends up being.
And residentially, we put items on the multi-list either side of the border or both, $600. You can offer a sell side fee. If you find your own buyer, your cousin comes in town and says, hey, I want to buy it. There's no sell side fee.
Right.
Now that, I don't think one of 100 realtors would have a program like that, but I
Right.
do.
Well, among your other activities, you were telling me before we got on the air that because of your experience with our friends, quote unquote, at the IRS, that you've actually helped people who've gotten themselves into hot water in terms of the Internal Revenue Service, and you've helped them out of some of their dilemmas. Is that correct?
They could be negotiated with. And IRS is kind of like any other creditor. When do they get it, or if they get it? But I have had closings where IRS agents were sitting in the room waiting for the check, and if they weren't satisfied, then it wasn't paid. I do want to refer to your Senior Gazette, and there are so many of your friends and business associates in there who help on similar matters. So in dealing with the IRS, why you've got a top-notch accountant there, and I'd ask people to look at that one.
Right.
But they're still, and I would say negotiating is one of my strong points.
Mm-hmm.
It's always nice to negotiate from a position of strength, but sometimes you have to recognize where your strengths are to go
Right.
from that.
Well, here's a perfect example of that old saying that knowledge indeed is power, okay?
Well, and having two backup offers is a lot of power.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the truth of it is that there are unfortunately so many situations where people don't really understand what their rights are in these transactions, and they go in thinking that they can be their own quote-unquote attorney or advisor, and even in the legal profession they say he who hires himself, if they're a lawyer, themselves to represent them, has a fool for a client, okay?
And to take nothing away from the lawyers, I like to work with them as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, a lot of lawyers are really great with divorces or with auto or liability or something. But when you want a lawyer in real estate, you want a real estate lawyer, which I'm happy to recommend
Right.
several from which to choose. And but oftentimes that lawyer doesn't know the market. They don't know the bargaining strengths and whatever. And oftentimes the lawyer is maybe the worst negotiator.
Right. Well, I mean, they're used to the legalese. They know all the They're a
Well,
sharp
it's
lawyer.
my way or the highway. And you get
Right,
two lawyers that say it's my way or the highway, and guess what? You don't have
Right.
you don't have a closed transaction.
You're right. Well, you end up in the ditch is where you end up. They're off on their separate highways and you're left in the ditch. But since you already admitted that you're a senior and you started way back, I hate to remind you, but you started in the last century, Tom Goebel. So you have a particular sensitivity to seniors. Can
Well,
you?
I learned a lot of things by making mistakes and recognize them, trying to make it again. And I've learned a lot of things by, let's say, doing it right, doing it successfully, and saying I could do that over and over.
Right.
But I think
Well-
you're alluding to seniors.
Well, there's a classic line that you never learn from your successes. You only learn from your mistakes. So fortunately for you, you've learned, and it's a mistake that actually benefited you in your overall knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, is that you're a firm believer in assisting seniors stay in place, as they say, aging gracefully. Can you share with us how you can help a senior in their housing?
I think one big thing I learned is everybody is different. Now, there certainly is a lot of seniors who want to stay in place. There's a lot of them that would just soon get away from the tax bills or whatever, and especially after a death of a spouse or something. They're going to want one or the other, and they're going to feel very strongly about it. But we can help seniors stay in place through the skills I've developed in property management, which has a lot to do with construction and value and so on. And you know, eventually this might end up to be a ramp, but I hate those ramp-looking ramps. You know what I mean? And again, you've got some contractors you work with. I have some too. So how it's designed to look like a piece of landscape. It may not be able to do it on a 30-foot lot, but on a 100-foot lot, I have done it where it's been, you know, the yellow brick road, and it's just beautiful. What doors to you? What might be the easiest access? And you can replace a door with a 36-inch, but maybe there's a sliding glass door wall or another entrance to the house that would be even handier. It's easier sometimes to work in the side or backyard than it is in the front yard without, say, destroying the architecture to it. So I am available by the hour or by flat fee to come in and take a look for seniors as to how to stay in place. Just a couple quick examples. Kathleen's aunt loved to do laundry. She's got a house, there's the laundry room in the basement. Well, she's got 3 bedrooms and a family room on the first floor. She never uses that 3rd bedroom. Let's think about putting that laundry room on the first floor, because she couldn't handle the steps.
Right.
And there's a lot of innovative products. Another one of your advertisers, for example, on how to adjust a bathroom so that you can give yourselves a bath without tripping or having to step over things like that.
Yes. And there's the old saying that when you are dealing in an area that you don't know, stay away from it and bring somebody that does know, and you obviously do, Tom Goebel. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and I only have enough time to leave with my favorite thought about the whole aspect of entrepreneurship, which is that if you really want to get anything done in life, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there is no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it's the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.